Well, hello and welcome to Hello Chaos, a weekly podcast exploring the messy and chaotic lives and minds of founders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. Each week, I have the privilege to speak with founders across the spectrum, founders from different industries, various stages, from startups to mature businesses of all shapes and sizes. Our listeners get to hear the real, the raw, the unvarnished viewpoints and stories on what it takes to start a business, scale a business, or insights on how to become a better leader, a better CEO, a better founder. So here we go. Today on our show, we have Anne Alexander-Sieder from calling out of Germany.
Yes, I am. Munich, Germany.
And Anne is an actor, coach, and the founder of Act Bold. So welcome, Anne. So glad you're on Hello Chaos.
Yeah, thank you, JJ. I'm really happy to be here.
Well, start us out. Tell us what got you into the entrepreneurial, chaotic world, and tell us about your journey of starting Act Bold.
Honestly, I've always been kind of an entrepreneur, although I never thought of myself that way. My parents were both entrepreneurs. My mom had her own little bakery business. My dad had a real estate thing. And yeah, I think it was just kind of in my blood. My great-grandmother was an entrepreneur.
Wow.
She invented the pompadour roll, which made her there was this hairstyle back in the early turn of the century, of one of those centuries, and there was something called a pompadour roll. And she invented a machine where people could go and get their hair rolled or something. I don't even know. But I know it got my...
She was an innovator. Yeah.
She was an innovator. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think it's just kind of has always been in my blood. And also I've tried working for other people. I'm not very good at it. And I think it all just kind of goes hand in hand with someone who's fiercely independent, fiercely creative, and kind of what's left.
Gotta break the barriers.
You got to do it.
Be responsible for ourselves, right? Like, okay, nobody else wants to hire. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody else.
Well, I didn't want to work for anybody else.
Well,
Let me put it
that's
that
true.
way.
Yeah. So how did you start Act Bold? What was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah. So Act Bold, it was sort of, it was a manifestation of things. So Act Bold is the latest iteration of what started out as coaching types of things for actors. So when I relaunched my career 16 years ago, I took a 16-year hiatus from acting. I had been a professional actor in America. Then I met this hot German guy, ended up in Germany. And ended up, didn't speak German. We had a family right away, all that good stuff. And I really didn't see a way to continue my acting career initially. And then when my son was about 16 years old, that's when I decided to give it another shot. Yeah. And the very first thing I did was get some training because I was rusty as hell. Yeah. So that training was sort of the first iteration of Act Bold, but it wasn't called Act Bold back then. Back then it was the Actors Atelier. And that was what I was curating coaches from London, New York, LA, getting the training I needed to feel like I was ready to get out there and pitch myself again to agents and casting directors and all of that.
So intimidating, I think.
It's honestly, now that I'm doing both, like coaching and all of that, I think that they're like equally, there are things to both that could be intimidating if you let it. Yeah. Right. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to not care what people think. You have to, just kind of know
yourself, know your gifts.
Know yourself, know your gift. Oh, that's big. That's huge for an actor. And I think that's a big stumbling block where a lot of actors really fall, which is kind of what I'm concentrating on now. So Act Bold in its latest iteration has 2 signature programs. One is for actors, where I help trained actors to understand their brand and learn how to pitch it and learn how to network and do that all in a really business way, because most actors I'm an artist. I don't want to deal with that.
Like you're a personal business selling yourself. Yeah.
You are totally. Yeah. And so teaching them the business side of acting.
Hmm.
And the other program that I have is Passion Project to Purpose. And
Okay.
that is kind of based off of my journey of curating coaches and organizing events
Hmm.
and earning money. So I always say it's a way to turn what you love into what you do without having to be a
Yeah.
coach or an
Or like
expert.
passion a paycheck. Got to find it.
Exactly. Well, and most people think that they have to be a coach to do it.
Uh,
Either, right? They either
yeah.
think they have to be a coach or they have to be like earning their money doing that specific thing.
Hmm.
So, and there are, or at least I have found another way beyond teaching acting or
Yeah.
just acting, something to make sure that that the income is steady every month
Right.
and helps me finance other things like films, which are friggin' expensive. And yeah. And so yeah, it's been a journey. So
I've,
I don't know
I've,
if that answers your
it
question.
does. Well,
It
what's
does.
been the most
Okay.
rewarding part of this journey? Oh, I like your coffee cup. That was good.
Thank you.
Look
Thank
at
you.
that. Well, that was a good plug.
Yeah, yes. Shameless
Some
plug.
merch. Some merch there.
Exactly. Check my link.
That's right.
I actually don't have them for sale, but I should. I
You
should.
should. Oh,
Yeah. Um, what was your question?
I was like, what was the most rewarding part? What's been the most rewarding part?
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting. It's
Hmm.
not necessarily what I thought it was, what I
Really?
thought
What
it
did you
would
think
be.
it was? Yeah.
Well, I really thought it was going to be like changing, like in a huge revelatory way, changing people's lives. And it
Hmm.
has done that for some of the actors. But I've also come to realize that a lot of people, they want the result, but they don't want the work.
Yeah. That's 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 a lot of people. I
Yeah.
don't think that's just
Yes, it
actors.
is. Yeah. Yeah. Which is kind of frustrating for
Yeah.
me because I know that it works
The
and I have
potential's there.
right. And so it really is when I see someone who's like a good actor and
Mm.
this is the thing, this is, and I know this is the only piece that's missing for you. You're
Right.
good. You deserve to be seen. And then they just sort of it fizzles.
Right.
So that's that the opposite of rewarding.
Yeah.
But then there are the people who really embrace it. Like I've
Right.
got some clients right now who are just so gung ho and
Mm.
they're just ripping through it and just killing it, and it's amazing to see that. So I wasn't sure what I would think about coaching. It just
Yeah.
sort of it started from like as a natural progression, I guess. People
Yeah.
started asking, and then I was like, well, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And um, but I'm really enjoying, especially doing live workshops,
Mm.
live working with people. I think that I didn't know, but I think that it's one
Mhm.
of my gifts to really inspire and motivate people. And I really enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
I am an optimistic person and I enjoy like giving that optimism
Right.
to other
Well, they
people.
feed off that energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
We all need that joyful energy in our life. Like I've come to learn you need to surround yourself with that energy.
You
And
totally do.
and
You have to
sometimes
be
you have to go
so
seek that
protective.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing, which I guess I never even thought of, I mean, it's been kind of a recent revelation,
Hmm.
is how creative
Ooh.
entrepreneurialism is.
Yes. Talk about that.
Well, I just find it is just incredibly and creative in so many different ways. I mean, I every once in a while I go into a whole thing with my husband, just like I am just learning so much. I mean, I
Yeah.
just feel like there's kind of no end to it.
Right.
As soon as I feel like when I look back how far I've come, right? It's just like, but
Right.
I still feel like there's so much more to learn and do. And what I love are the things that do well are sort of where I can apply my creativity, where it's
Right.
outside
Your
of the
gifts.
box, where it's
That's right.
not like everybody else. Yeah, where I have my own spin on it.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
And so that's also been really creative and
that's a good
rewarding.
aha. Were
Yeah.
there any myths that you kind of went in thinking, "Oh, this is what it is like to, have a business, to scale a business," that you were like, "Well, that was a bunch of bullshit."
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, well, all of the big coaches will tell you, just get your irresistible offer out there and they will be lining up to buy
You'll
it.
make $1 million in
Right,
the
right,
first
right.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, even, right. And I think comparatively speaking, I did pretty well my first year,
Mm,
but I mean, it's fucking work,
it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, people are like, it's like, money rolling into my sleep and I go surfing half the day and I work 4-hour days and this and that. Like, what? Where? I don't know. I have not reached that point yet. I'm looking
Right.
forward to it. I'm
I know.
hoping it's, it's going to
We're
be
all
there.
hoping that we're working towards that, right?
Yeah. I probably sleep 4 hours a night.
Right.
Let's switch that around.
Because we're
Yeah.
churning, we're burning. Our minds can't turn
Totally.
off because we're like, ooh, how do I change
Yes.
this? How do I make this better? How do I, refine my messaging to connect
Yes.
better?
Always.
Always. Like
Yeah.
that didn't hit, but you're right. Even we've been doing the podcast for a little over 2 years. Yeah. Like Chandler's like, I don't even know how long the hell we've been doing this, but we're, 130, 40 episodes in and, I've gotten into these podcast communities and I was like, Chandler, we got to give we got to pat ourselves on the back of, the first thing is if you expect to make money in like the first 2 or 3 years, you're joking yourself. Like, let's have some reality check because we get people in these podcast communities. I'm launching a podcast. So how soon will I start seeing revenue? And the jokes that will fly in the thread of like,
Right.
like work on your content, work on your
Right.
programming. But also like we've got workflows and systems in place. They're all pretty automated. And we have found that is extremely unusual in the podcast
Okay.
community that
Really?
I was like, oh, well, I thought that was just a normal, you have to do this to, no, it is
Yeah.
quite not the normal thing. But
So interesting because I
yeah,
have a podcast too. I'm 91 episodes in.
very good. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're
Thank
you're
you.
crushing it, crushing it.
Well, yeah. Money is rolling in.
I know. We we have no
I-
money rolling in, but yes, we hope to.
but
Soon,
I
soon.
mean, honestly, I am an actor. I got into acting, so like money, like that was never like my
Right.
big thing. It's always like some other thing, And what I've found is podcasting is an amazing way to network.
Yes.
And
There's other valuable
yes,
treasures that come out of it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, the sponsorship. And even, I mean, I don't even know who I would ask to sponsor me, to be very honest. I mean, it's not like there are huge, it's not some niches like just there, like if you're a mompreneur or something,
Right.
my God, I mean, there are just thousands of things that you
Right.
could have.
Well, and also you're an actor, like all these, like, but you got to have those big names on there for, another brand to want to sponsor of, I follow like the little celebrity, Dax Shepard, Armchair Expert, or, who's the other one? Smartless. I
I
mean,
don't know, but yeah.
like those guys are, I mean, it's Sean Hayes and Jason Bateman. I mean, like, come on. Of course they've got sponsors.
Yeah, okay, but that's something else because
Yeah.
they're interviewing actors to get the celebrity status, but the show is not about actors.
No.
It's not
Uh-uh.
about, and
It's
mine
just
is even more niche
it's
than that.
It's just going into their life.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's for everybody.
That's right.
That's not just for the,
That's
and where
right.
my show is specifically
Like you're trying to better actors.
careers.
Yeah, careers. That's the
I mean, it
concept.
is like super niche, super, super niche. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's,
Yeah.
but the fact that you're 91 episodes in, you got
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
And because a lot of times it's just showing up and being consistent, and having that persistence is what can set us apart.
I mean, it's
huge.
also like, I think, like I made a commitment that I'm going to do this once a week. And I didn't start out that way, right? I was like, that was my original idea. I'm going to do this once a week.
Right.
Then it was like once a month. And then I did 2 in a month. And then I was like, no, I'm either going to do this or I'm going to not do it.
Right.
But I don't want to do this half-ass. And then that's when I started doing it once a week. And it is kind
Yeah.
of hell or high water.
That's right.
I do these once a week. So I have started doing interviews, like,
Oh, nice.
to kind of alleviate
To have
having
that
to do it.
dialogue. Yeah.
Well, not just the dialogue, but it also like totally, it's like a week where I don't have to think so much about what am I going to do. Like I
Right.
know what the episode's going to be about, but when I do my episodes, there's research and there's writing and there's taping
Oh,
and there's
yeah.
this, right?
It's a
Where
program.
it's a
It's a
program.
program.
It's a
Yeah.
program. Whereas with like an interview, you just, it's great. I use Descript. Do you use Descript? Do you know Descript?
It's similar to Riverside.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So you just go
And we use Swell.
multicam,
Yeah.
and then all done.
All
Take out
done.
those long, boring pauses
right.
and, the oohs and ahs, and we're good to go.
Exactly. What's been the most challenging part of starting Act Bold and even the evolution parts? What was the most challenging? Like the big, oh shit, like I've hit a barrier. What am I doing? Have you had any of those moments yet?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I think, I'm reminded of that phrase, new level, new devil, right? So every kind of,
it's a good one.
Yeah, every time like the very first one was like, okay, how do I find my first customers?
Right.
Right. And putting myself out there and, doing the calls on social media and this and that until I had, and the person I was coaching with was like, interview 50 people and then reach back out to them. So I had set a goal just to interview those 50 people. And that took for friggin' ever, just to interview 50 people. And I wasn't trying to sell them anything initially.
Right.
It was just
talking.
Let's find out what's going on in your life, what's working, what's not working, what would you like to have, what do you wish you knew, all of those kind of things. And then reaching back out. So that was initially like just getting those first 50 people to interview was a big hurdle. But I did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and that too was also, it was like in the beginning, it was kind of like, this is hard, and then it was just like, no, I paid a shit ton of money for this course. I am going to.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Make it work. And so that was kind of like the one where, but I mean, it's, it's just part of everything, right? I mean, nothing comes for free. Nothing is given to you. You have to work for it.
Yeah.
And now that now that we are scaling, right? So now we've been invited to a big actors convention in London.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm doing a keynote there, and we're also launching Passion Project to Purpose, which is not just for actors. It's for anybody who's kind of put their dreams on the back burner. It's really probably geared more towards who I was 10 years ago, right? I was 47 years old. I had always had wanted to be a creative person, have a creative profession.
How do you show up? And yeah.
And I think so many people just don't know how to build that bridge from their passion to their profession. Right. And that's what Passion Project to Purpose is all about. Because I really believe that if you don't have a passion, your curiosity will lead you to a passion.
That's right.
And
all of us have a passion. You just got to uncover
it. You just got to find it.
Yeah.
And it is the key to unlocking your purpose, because we all, at the end of the day, just want to feel like, our lives have meaning. We don't want the to be lying down for that big sleep, right? And the film that starts playing, you're like, no, change the channel. Not that one. I want a different movie.
That's right. Well, it's like I just wrote a post the other day of, you have to realize your life is your own story.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You are the lead in your own movie.
You are the lead in the own story. Do not be a supporting character. And if you feel like you are the observer, the supporting or the side character in your life story, you can rewrite it.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't be the narrator. Like, come on, be the leading character.
Yeah.
That leading lady.
And I think a lot of people are like, they especially, like, I don't know if you had kids or where you're at with your kids.
Yeah.
You've got 4. Okay.
I've got 4. Yeah. 13 to 24. Yeah.
Okay. So you're sort of like in the thick of it, where they're sort of fighting for their independence, and you've already been never done that. All of that. So yeah, good. So you know kind of where I'm coming from because this is, same. I have one child. He's not a child anymore. He's
Right.
27. But that whole thing of, for me at any rate, I always wanted to be a mom. I
Mm.
really immersed myself in being a mom, even though I was working, acting adjacent when he was
Right.
young. I wasn't like, it was always like family first. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until he was older that I was like,
Oh,
okay, now there's time for me. So what do
right.
I actually want
What does that
to
mean?
do? What
Yeah.
does it mean? What does it mean? And I think, that there are so many people, the actors who are kind of facing that life transition are the ones
Yeah.
that seem to gravitate to me. And that's really what Passion Projects of Purpose is all about, are
It's
trying to
finding
help
that.
those people in a major life transition, but an
Yeah.
older life transition, you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I'm
finding a way
curious.
back.
I'm curious. I've got a few questions, but I'm a huge pop culture, media nerd, and I love the industry from the behind the scenes of from actor to the writers, showrunners. With the current, you know, I would say the current industry of the shrinking writers' rooms, not with all streaming, it's really hard to kind of get in sometimes. It's not. Do you find that, and you see a lot of actors trying to find, like, okay, I can't sustain myself on an actor salary. I've got to find something. How do I bring these gifts in ways that still fueling that passion, but how do I show up? Are you seeing more people kind of gravitating to what you offer because the gap in the industry right now?
Well, again, I don't
I don't know.
service just actors,
Well,
but you know what I'm really seeing, AI is taking over a
yeah,
lot of
yes,
stuff. So from voiceover to commercial actors
yeah,
to, I think we're still pretty far off from having AI like do a movie,
right. That
with a,
it's too artificial, and you need
yeah,
human. You
yeah.
still need humans.
But I mean, I don't put it past it in a few
Yeah,
years, you know?
yeah,
And it also depends, what are we watching? Like, are we watching a Marvel film?
right,
Then maybe I don't care if that's an AI generated
right.
character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think what we're going to be seeing is the shrinking of a lot of, I think we're going to have to be
mm,
reimagining what we do as creative individuals
yeah,
and being creative about how to use our creativity.
right.
So I think that that actors are going to be seeing a resurgence of
Mm,
theater, live performance, that
yeah,
kind of stuff, comedy, improv, like
right.
stuff that a machine cannot do.
Cannot do. Yeah, yeah,
Writers, that's a good one. I don't know, because machines are getting pretty damn good at writing
yeah.
too. I mean, they still need humans to tweak and all of
Yeah.
that, but
We,
and it,
as we talk about, like in our world, in our marketing agency, it is, we still need the human, the brain, the experience to know how to input the prompts.
yeah,
And then also to
to
review,
refine it.
oversight,
Yeah.
refine, give it to the kind of our creative, like those people who can look at and
Do
go,
you use, let me ask you this. Do you use, so I was using GPT
yeah,
forever. I still use it.
yeah,
And then
we use it in our operations. Yeah.
yes, me too. And I just started using Claude, and Claude is amazing for writing, like writing.
Ah.
Yeah,
You're okay,
much.
Chandler. I was like, Chandler's going, uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah.
Claude is much better than ChatGPT. I mean, ChatGPT, like literally, will, I think I can swear on this, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm literally like, you fucking moron.
we
Literally, you know,
were just talking, like, I had a friend of mine that came in, and she goes, we were talking, she's in real estate, and she's, how do I use, GPT, and what are the rules and this? So we were going, I did a little workshop for her real estate firm, and people, and she was like, will I get bad results if I cuss at? I'm like, why are you yelling at
Oh no,
at
it
the
will
computer? She's like,
grovel at your feet.
I scream at it. I'm cussing at it. I'm yelling like, and it's like, and are you are you typing? She goes, oh, I type curse words and like, oh,
Me
I'm like,
too. Oh, I do too.
I was like, that's so funny.
Oh, I do
That's,
too.
do you get better? Do you feel like your results get
Well, it
worse or better?
apologizes. I don't know. I mean, that's a good question because I get so frustrated that I'm just like, oh. So, yeah. So that's GPT. And now I've been using Claude. So
I haven't
GPT
even
is
heard of
good for
Claude. Okay.
brainstorming this stuff.
Yeah.
It's what is it? Anthropic is the
Yeah.
one who does Claude. So anyway, so I use GPT to brainstorm and to come up
Okay.
with stuff because you can also upload a lot more information into
Yes.
GPT. So I will upload like, transcripts or whatever it
Right.
is, or lesson programs, But then when it comes to actually spitting it out, it doesn't sound like me, you
Right.
know. So rather than me going through and going,
Make
having to
this into this voice. Yeah.
well, I do that too, but it still doesn't.
Still not.
It's not.
But
Nah.
Claude does it?
Claude is much better. Yeah.
Oh, we need
So
to
I
learn
do
that. Yeah.
upload transcripts of me actually speaking, like, all of
Oh,
my podcasts. I'll
okay.
upload 4 or 5 podcasts of me having conversations, me doing talking
Right.
head, but, and I'm like, first analyze this,
Yeah.
notice the speech patterns, notice the turns of phrase that I use again and
Hmm.
again. And, and then I create a prompt around that,
Yeah.
or that's,
And
and
then
then
you're
I'm
like,
like,
and then make
okay.
me sound smarter. That's what I would do. I don't know. I'm like, make me sound like a genius.
no, no,
You're
but
like, no.
yeah,
But it does all that. That's fantastic.
it's interesting, and I've also just started really recently using LM notebooks,
Hmm.
which is
We have not
Google.
heard that. Okay. Oh,
Okay, so this is also super interesting. It
yeah.
was made to be like a study guide to help people who are doing research and studying for university and all of that. So
Oh.
you can upload all sorts of stuff. It's very interesting, and you can upload them into projects.
Oh.
So
I
it's
was like,
very
Chandler's over here like, I am taking notes because he's getting
yeah,
his MBA at night. So he's like, oh, I can do what?
yeah. It's really good for that.
LM Notebooks, a
You can
Google
also like
product.
upload videos as long as they've been up for a few days at least. It
Okay. So
like
it gets fed.
yeah, it can yeah,
Okay.
you can feed it with all of that stuff.
So like
And
YouTube
now wait, I
channels and
have to
stuff.
tell you all of
Oh.
that, all of it.
Ah.
All of it. Yeah. Websites, YouTube channels, it'll go read it for you, it'll watch the video, it's
Oh.
pretty cool actually. And then the other thing that I just started to use as well that blew my fucking mind
Oh. Please share.
was, yes, it's aistudios.google, and it's free.
It,
So the thing that's super interesting about this is if you go into it, I think it's the second one on the left down. I'm a visual person, as you can
yeah.
tell. And I think it says streaming. If you click on that, then you get 3 options. One is you can just have a conversation.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think? Let me brainstorm this, blah, blah. And it'll like have a conversation. And I guess GPT does that. And so does
Mm.
Gemini. And so does
Right.
Claude. I mean, they all do that. But what this does that the others don't is you can say, share my camera. What am I seeing? Explain this to me. What am I seeing? Translate this for me. What am I
Oh.
seeing? Yeah, that's very cool. And then the other thing is you can also upload something like share your screen
Right.
and say, I am trying to create a GPT
Right.
and I don't know what I'm doing. Can you please walk me through this? Take a look
Yeah.
at what I'm trying to do.
We those are our prompts on
Yes.
a like we're
Yeah.
trying to do this. Give me the instructions. Detailed,
Yes.
please.
Yes. And it actually saved me on Thrivecart the other day.
Really?
Yeah. So I
Nice.
had something that was toggled off on Thrivecart, and my customers were not able to buy. And this had
Oh.
happened to me a couple of times. And one put like 3 credit cards through, and finally it went. And I thought, well, that's weird, but maybe his bank, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then it happened again a couple days later, and the guy was on the phone with his bank, and the bank's like, no, you're good. It's on their end.
Yeah.
And I was like, on my end? What could it be?
Right.
Right? Right? That's terrible. And I don't even know how this happened. So then I reached out to Thrivecart, got crappy answers, reached out to Stripe, got really bad answers. They were telling me, Stripe was telling me to contact Thrivecart. Thrivecart was telling me to
Right.
contact
Pointing the
Stripe.
fingers everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I just went to this AI studio thing, and I was like, help, help, please. And it
Fix that
did.
problem.
It did. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It literally
It's-
walked me through it, and we fixed it.
Yeah. I mean, we're the more that we're finding the usage for AI in our business operations, in our workflows, it is pretty eye-opening and we run a marketing and media business, and we've been hearing that for the last 12 months of like, if you aren't using that like AI in your tech stack, from, like I said, business operations to your project management to team communication, workflows, and automating over 60-70% of it, we're not going to be competitive out there because I run a marketing agency. It's like,
Right. What do
we
you
have
use to manage your workflows?
we're actually shifting in some of that. We're trying to use right now. It's a mix of Teams and manual. So we're starting to implement because we've used AI in terms of creative process, like
Right.
the inputs of
Content and
the content.
Yeah.
But we are work like right now in the middle of transitioning. How do we start using GPTs and automating workflows?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do
and
too.
connection. So we're building the roadmap right now and trying to figure it all out because we've got the tech. It's just we were like, oh, we can use that, and we just need a GPT for that to talk to that, and that to talk to that.
You know what? I'm pulling
we're
up
like,
this thing.
do that.
AppSumo. Yeah, I just saw something. AppSumo. Let me just look
As in
here.
like sumo wrestler, AppSumo.
Do you know? You don't know AppSumo?
We've been using like the Zapier, which is the integration between Zapier and GPT.
Oh
But,
my God! Wait a minute.
yeah.
AppSumo is.
Oh, we're going to hear another one.
Yes, you are. You totally are. AppSumo runs deals on all of those software that you use, and it will have new things and things like that. So there's a new one that they have right now that I was kind of looking at. I think it's modular. Automate maintenance tasks for multiple. No, that's not it. I have to look at it.
Yeah. So you're doing the same thing we are, of like how this technology is pretty cool, but it goes beyond just content. We need to put this into our business practice,
into my workload. Yeah.
All the
into
work, because we've been using
Yeah.
it like for dashboard creation for clients. We just kind of got a couple months ago. That's where like another agency owner was like, start using it to connect workflows and project management. We're like, oh, because we were looking at software to do that, and they're like, you don't need any more software. You just need to create GPTs to connect these things together.
Oh, interesting.
So that's where, yeah.
So I know that one thing you can definitely do is ask, and I just started to do this myself, ask GPT, chat, good old chat.
Good old Chad. I call him Chad.
Exactly. Chad the chat. To ask chat to tell me what I need, like tell it this is what I want to do.
And then I'm like, I'm disappointed in this. This is not, we already have all this. So how are we, that's what was our aha, because we asked it that. And we're like, we already have all these tools. Give me the detailed instructions on how to
use them,
how to connect them together. Because we already have the tools. It's like, those tools can do that.
Yeah. Do you use Asana or
we're a Microsoft Office.
Okay.
And so it was like, we have a lot of the stuff in the Office suite. Either we didn't turn them on, or we weren't using them to the fullest extent. Um,
Mm.
and so yeah, we're in that process. But like if there's additional shortcuts, we are all about that. Because sometimes
Yeah.
Microsoft Office, like even some of their tools, we have to come outside and do it like in a Google Sheet or use Google that then integrates with it. Because, like the bookings for Microsoft, it's a shit tool. Don't use it. It doesn't work. We think that Microsoft is probably
You
going to
mean
buy
like
like
something like
Calendly.
Calendly?
Yeah.
Ah, so okay, so
Because we
this.
think they're going to buy Calendly
Oh,
because they've stopped
really?
supporting bookings, which
Oh,
is their
wow.
own tool. But now it's like they have the integration is so much better. I mean, like they're supporting the Calendly integration into like Microsoft Office and
Ah,
Teams and all of
interesting.
that.
So I'm
But
now trying
yeah,
to get away from Calendly.
well, we're going. Is there another one that
There
integrates better?
is. So I don't know that it integrates better, but it might for you because
Yeah.
I use Apple. So
Okay.
for me, yeah, I can do it through Google and then
Yeah.
it works. So maybe stop using my Apple
Yeah.
Calendar and start using Google. But it's called Zcal. And AppSumo was running a deal on it,
Ah,
lifetime access. So you buy it once and you
and
never
it's
have to
there.
pay it again for the
We need
month,
to go look at our tech stack to go, ooh, if we can get deals on AppZumo,
Well,
I'm all in it.
AppSumo is like the warehouse.
Right,
So just
right.
look up AppSumo and you will
And we'll
see,
and we'll see what's in there. We can get it.
and it sends you stuff basically every
I
day,
love it.
like, yeah.
Um,
We definitely went off on a tangent
I
there, didn't
know. I
we?
was like, but it was a good one. So because we know
Yeah,
there's a lot of,
right,
we're kind of a smaller business. We're
right.
less than 20, 20 employees and all that, which is a lot of small businesses out there that are struggling with how do I use, technology and software and tech stack and how do and a lot of people think it's just in marketing. It's like it's in your full business operations.
Yeah.
Um, and but we also have found on the marketing team, we're working with companies that are 50 million, 250 million, 250 million, half a billion revenue sized, North American companies, and they haven't systematized anything. Their operations, we're seeing like just in marketing operations, like that's where a lot of companies get stuck
Mm,
is there's friction in
yeah.
their people processes, their sales processes, the advertising, the bridge between advertising and sales. Those processes are completely, you know, unstructured and
Yeah.
unconnected. So one of the things that we come in as an agency, like we do a better job kind of going in and helping a client integrate their tools, and fixing those processes so they can accelerate faster. We're just finally adopting some of that same thinking for our own tools. Like, why are we not doing it for ourselves?
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
what
And
our,
it's also changing so quickly, right? So you
yeah,
have to really like,
right. And some of their technology, they're
yeah.
using these gigantic, very rigid software tech, and they don't talk to anything. So our team is coming in and are finding ways to build those integrations, building the software bridges between the two, or going in and going, you're using this, you're paying a lot for that software that isn't really serving you well. And these others that are way cheaper would actually amplify and serve your business, but to have them kind
I
of
mean, I think they
transition
would,
that
if
it
they're
is
that huge, they should be creating their own GPTs.
they should be, and a lot of
Yeah.
them don't even
Yeah.
know how, like, or aren't even using AI at all, like
Wow.
manufacturing facility,
Like
like
who is not using AI? I don't
I'm
know
going to tell
anyone.
you, like the industrial manufacturing industry
Really?
is, yeah,
Wow.
I would say
Okay.
less than 10%. I mean, even like we're helping founders that are coming into the space, serving manufacturing and industrial companies that are I would call AI powered integrators of you've got all these devices in all your facilities. We're not the hardware. We're the software that connects all these, and you can monitor stuff from your phone. And they're struggling to get in, and it saves, would save these companies not just labor cost, but also like materials, because they
Yeah.
can monitor the materials that they are, that's in these systems. And so we're like, you save so much money, and they're like, we can't get, it's hard to get in, because it kind of,
Yeah.
it's
I
got to
mean, I
take the
do
right
have it
mindset,
with,
right? You
yeah,
got to have the right
definitely.
mindset
Yeah.
of,
I
ooh,
mean,
I
I
can do
even
things
use it
better.
for actors. Like
Yeah.
I'm teaching my clients to use
Ooh,
it for
how
themselves.
how would you how do you teach an actor to use AI
So
and
there
GPT
are
for
lots of
themselves?
different ways,
Yeah.
but one of them is, for example, like I have, several different exercises to help them understand their brand, right? Their unicorn
Ah,
factors, their what makes them
what makes
them.
them unique? Run
Exactly.
run
So,
that through GPT.
well, honestly, after you've done the work, you still
Right.
have to do the work,
Right.
but it will make a lot of connections for you. One thing
Mm.
that I often, I mean, this is one of the exercises that I help actors to understand their brand
Right.
with,
But
is
this could
by
be any leader personal brand.
this. I was just going to say, I've
Yeah.
told this to other people on different podcasts before as a tool to use. So just say to yourself, what are three characters I wish I could live that life?
Ooh,
Like,
that's a
like what
great
I say
question.
to an actor is, what are three characters you would love to play?
Yeah.
Right?
Like in the history of TV and film.
Yeah.
What three
And
characters do
theater,
you
right? But
in theater?
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are three characters that you would just like, you're like, "Oh, I would die to play that." That just
Yeah.
is, that would be like that would be like the role of a lifetime for me. So what are three of those? And then you basically run it through ChatGPT. There are a series of prompts that I give them,
Right.
but you basically want to say, what are the things that, what is the through line on these three
Mm,
characters? What are their common themes? What are their common attributes and
right.
traits? What are their differences?
Mm,
And why are they connected? Why would one human being want to play these three people?
right.
Right. So those kind of things together. And ChatGPT is pretty damn good at analyzing, like
Yeah.
like from a
Yeah.
psychological standpoint.
That's right.
No
Yeah.
idea how, but it really is. And so it's really like, once you've kind of like done the work of,
Of-
which isn't that much, like what
but
are
you still
three
have to
characters?
think. You really have to think
You
about
have to
why.
think.
You've got to
Yeah.
think about that. That is not
And
a
there's
that's not an
there's a
easy off the cuff question to
it's not.
answer.
And there's a difference between the characters that you want to play for
Yeah.
an actor and the characters you just love,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you have to think about that. I'm not sure how to word that for someone who's not an actor, but you have to think about, like, what are the characters that whose life you would want to live,
Right.
or to,
Yeah, the life
in
that
a
you
parallel
most admire.
universe.
Right.
Yeah. Like somebody, yeah, exactly, as
Yeah.
opposed to just like a great story. Like, I don't know if you
Right.
remember White Oleander. Do you
Yeah.
remember that book? What
Yes. Michelle.
amazing book.
Yeah.
Michelle, yes.
And Michelle Pfeiffer was played in the movie, right?
Yes, she
Wasn't
did.
she?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the movie wasn't nearly as good as the book. But in
Yeah.
any case, that
It
was
never
a
is. It never
character,
is.
right? Well, sometimes, but sometimes they surprise you. But in any case, right? It wasn't like, it was a, like, that's not somebody I would want to be,
Right. But it was a
but
good story.
but it was an amazing story,
Yeah.
right? So you have to kind of think about it in those kind of terms, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I have to rethink that, because like, yeah, really. Because for actors, like, you can play characters, like that's a character I would
That's an
totally
interesting
love to
character.
play.
That would be a
Yeah,
challenge. I want to do that. But
yeah,
yeah, to go, how do I discover that through line of like my personality, or what, like the the what I want, the life I want to lead? What are those characteristics? What are those traits?
yeah,
How do I describe myself to others?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it has taken me a long time to come up with my actor's log line,
Yeah.
which I sometimes use, sometimes don't. But before, it was this long, like, 2 sentence long thing,
Right.
which was on brand, but it was like, it was long. And I think the perfect log line for
Yeah.
anyone anybody, whether you're an actor or not, is for it to be short and succinct
Mm.
to people to go, "Oh yeah, I see
Oh,
that."
I see it.
Right?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like a brand. You
Exactly.
it's just
Exactly.
like a brand. You
Yeah.
if you give a brand like value proposition or that vision, it needs to be one line, maybe even just a few words, and people need to get it and
They
go,
need to
"Oh,
get it.
they need to get
Exactly.
it." Needs to
And the
relate.
shorter, the better. So now that I've teased your audience with it, I have to tell them, right?
Yeah.
What my
Yeah. What
what
is
my
yours?
log line is.
What's your log line?
I play high status women with who are morally ambiguous. Ugh, I play high status women who are morally ambiguous with a fierce heart. So,
Oh,
yeah. So
that is
those, I mean,
nice.
across the board, that's like what I always end up playing. Is she the good one? Is she the bad one? We're not quite
Right.
sure. Is our motives for her, or are they for her family? Not quite sure, or for
The
whatever it
ambiguous
may be.
moral
Morally ambiguous.
moral
Morally
ambiguous. I
ambiguous.
like that.
Yes.
All right. So if we met a year from now, and what will we be celebrating next January?
Ooh. The amazing success of Passion Project to Purpose.
All right.
Yeah,
And what
which
does
is
that mean? What does that look like? What does
what does
success
that
look like
look
to you?
like?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for Passion Project to Purpose, I'm really looking forward to helping like a wider variety of
Mm,
people. And so anybody really who feels like they have put their dreams on hold, and obviously, if you put your dreams of becoming a medical doctor on hold, I
right.
can't help you with that. But anything, just putting that out there. But if you have something you're like, God, I love interior design, but I just,
How do
or
I
man,
start? Yeah.
yeah, or I cake decorating, it's my passion. I, just want to make cakes all the time, or
Right.
refurbishing and flipping furniture, or
Mm,
survival out in, doing survival retreats or
right.
meditation retreats or holistic medicine. Or, I mean, there are just really 1,000, anything that you could do in sort of bite size
Yeah.
segments. So that's what it is. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the people spark each other.
Mm,
So, like someone who's doing, I don't know, an Indian comfort food supper club,
right.
how that might spark someone who's into foraging for edible fauna
Ah,
in their thing, and what kind of event they might come up with around that, where they're like, oh, I could do that with what I'm doing. And,
yeah.
you first forage and then cook or whatever it is. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they spark each other.
Yeah.
And
It's building a community.
totally,
Totally
totally.
building a
Yeah.
community. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So I love that because
And
we're
I'm
we're
also
always like
looking.
all about communities. We're
Yeah,
all about the
well,
community.
totally, totally.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the short wins, because the win in
Mm,
Passion Project to Purpose is actually built into the program. So
okay.
it's a 6-week program. Week 5, the people are actually launching their very first event. I
Oh.
walk them through everything from ideating to where do they find their coaches and experts,
Uh,
to where do they find their participants, all the templates, how do you price it, all, what venues, what kind of an event, all of that stuff. And then the
oh.
5th week, they actually go off and they launch it. And the 6th week is all about debriefing. What went well? What didn't go well? What are you going to do different next time? What would you like to try next
Oh my.
time?
That is so valuable. So valuable.
Because they will have done it.
Done it, but also the mechanism of the thinking of the process, and then the now lessons learned. How do I make it better? Like,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. And I
yeah,
think so many coaches kind of leave it at, and there you go.
right,
Now go forth and do your thing,
right,
right? And it's like, and people like to have their hand held
right,
throughout. And
right,
this way they're getting their hand held throughout the entire first launch, right?
right. But also,
And
it makes sure that you launch
it
versus
makes sure that they do
versus
it.
here's the templates, and good luck. I've given you
Right.
all the ammunition, but it's on you. You're walking them through to actual no, and you're going to launch it, and then
And
we're going to talk about it after the launch,
exactly.
which is
So that
so I think people are hungry for that. Like,
Well, and I feel like this goes back to the whole AI thing as
yeah,
well, right? I feel like the further we get into AI, and we are going to keep getting further into it,
yeah,
the more we are needing to find ways to truly connect human being to human being.
that's right.
And when you are building a community around your passion and using your beginner status as your advantage
Hmm,
as opposed to your disadvantage,
I like
when
that.
you're out there saying, hey, I am just learning, I'm bringing in the coaches, I'm organizing this,
Right.
but I am not the expert, I just want to learn just like you,
Hmm,
you're authentically creating communities with people who are at the same place as you.
right.
Now, whether they take every workshop or not, I mean, you are naturally going to be
Depends on how
becoming an
hungry you are.
expert.
That's right. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. But it will take its natural course. This is,
hmm,
I'm sure you've seen it too, like in all of
yeah,
these big coaching things, the big business
yeah,
coaches. Always, at least once a week, somebody's like, oh man, I'm really dealing with imposter syndrome. Anybody else?
yeah.
And it's like, oh, brrr, 97 comments.
Because
Yes, me too.
everybody. That's right.
Yes. And I think, well, why are you dealing with imposter syndrome? One
Right.
reason is because everybody's been telling you you only need to be 2 steps ahead, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Because if you're only 2 steps ahead, you're always looking over your shoulder. Oh my God, when are they
Right.
going to catch up to me? You know, and like, oh shit, I better learn more because they're learning, and it's like this. Whereas if you're just like, hey, I am just going to relax and enjoy the
Right.
ride, and I can still earn money learning about what I
Right.
love
But
and
but also
creating a
just
community.
or just
Yeah.
acknowledge. I think a lot of it is with the imposter syndrome is not, you know, are you 2 steps ahead? It's more of like, oh, acknowledgement of it happens. It's because it's not really real, even though it is real, but it's why do you feel this way? And a lot of it is just how do then you overcome that confidence? How do you just keep pushing forward and moving through it without it holding you back? Because sometimes it's just like, oh shit, it is real. I didn't think I would be hit this way. All right, let's move on. Like how do we attack it? Um,
Yeah. It's interesting. I think
yeah.
from what I've seen, a lot of the imposter syndrome comes from people who have not actually earned their place
Or
a
maybe
hundred
that.
percent
Yeah.
as a as somebody to be the expert. Or
Mm.
maybe they're
Yeah, that's
teaching
true.
the level that they're at as opposed to the level they
They need.
were at.
Ah, that's an
And
insight.
yeah. And so
Um,
when you're doing that, it's like, oh God, yes, I know how I got here, but I'm still trying to get further, and everybody else who's at my level is also trying to get. So like, go
right.
back to the before, and
Yeah.
I think it can also be.
And earn your maybe you just maybe it's also a telltale like do you need to earn your stripes or and get more experience, get that credibility, or do you just need to show that no, I got like that was my issue of when I started the business, I did feel this like this fear of I'm not good enough. But then it was like when I started to get into these rooms, I started to look around going, oh my God, I am in running circles around these people who appear way more successful business wise. And I'm going, ugh, I have way more experience. Why am I
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
intimidated? Why am I feeling this way? And it took like that kind of mental process. And then when I started talking to other people, are like, yeah, I felt imposter. So I'm like, okay, so do we all kind of feel this way when we get out from under because I worked in other agencies for 20 plus years. It was when I came out from under that comfort of somebody else's brand. And
ah,
I had to stand by myself, and everything was on me. That then I would walk into these rooms and I felt like I didn't belong. And it just took me a process to go, no, no, no. Not only do I not belong, I do belong
do
here.
belong. Yeah.
And oh, I bring so much more value in my space in my category than a lot of other people. I've earned
Mm.
this. and I belong
Well,
here.
it sounds to me like you were
Yeah.
just kind of owning where you were at. I mean,
Yeah.
you have 20
Yeah.
plus years experience. That's
That
no lie, right? I mean, that's like
right.
a thing. And so, but I think people feel like they need to sound
That
better than they are.
yep. 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 And
And
we see that all the time. Like in any kind of workforce, it's like you always get the posturing, and it's like, oh my gosh, do
and
they?
you can tell.
And you
You can
can
tell.
totally tell when they are.
Yeah.
Chandler's laughing because he knows who I'm talking about. We've got a couple new. We've got
Okay.
a couple new clients that are like, oh, they are so. They've been, it's the first like big title, the big position, and
Yeah.
it's like, oof, you can tell that they are not quite there, but they are hiding that from their team,
And I think
from
that there's a
us, and we can
lot of
feel it. There's a lot of that out there.
there is a
Yeah.
lot of that out there, but there's a lot of power in just saying,
I,
I'm learning this.
That's what I've told my team. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
okay to say I don't know.
Yes.
And that's how we talk to even our clients. We're like, we don't know what you don't know. So if we're not on the same page, there's a lot of information we have collectively here. Same with like the entrepreneurial community too, and the founder community. When we start telling people like, hey, I need help, whether it's whatever, other people will help you. And come along with you and give you that advice and guidance. But if you're not
Being
genuine,
transparent. Yeah.
transparent about that,
Authentic. You got to be
very
authentic.
authentic,
Yeah.
people can't help you. You're never going to
Right.
grow.
Right.
You're never going to grow, and you're never going to see the next level. Right? What
And
did you say?
frankly,
The new level, the new devil. I love that. Like
right.
I've
New
never
level,
heard
new
that
level.
phrase.
You never heard that?
I've never heard that phrase.
Yeah.
I'm using that from now on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. And also, I think like owning your, like where you authentically
And I think like
are.
where you are, like where you
Exactly.
are.
Own that. Own that
Yeah,
where you authentically are, because it's also, it creates real connections.
that's right.
I have a frog in my throat. Creates real connections, which that's how you build relationships, right?
Well, and that's how
Like,
you grow, even not just build relationships and connections. How are you going to move to that next level, even as a mindset, or if it's education? You're never going to grow. I mean, no matter where you are, if you're entering your career
oh,
in
for
a
sure.
company, starting as an early entrepreneur, or as a level, a late starter entrepreneur and founder,
For sure.
you
I
you
always tell
you
my
gotta
clients,
level.
radical honesty, radical
Oh,
accountability.
oh,
You gotta have both.
that's
You
right,
you have to not lie to yourself about where you're at and what your problems are.
right.
Like,
And you gotta
I will
share
have
that.
clients who come to me and they've literally booked an appointment because they're not happy with their career. And
Yeah,
then they want to tell me how many films they just booked, how many commercials they're doing, this and that. And it's like, but are you happy with that? Well, you want, and it's
why are
like,
you here?
right, exactly.
Right.
And it's like they really struggle sometimes just being like radically honest
Yeah,
with where they are.
right. Oh, that's a good radical honesty
And
and
radical
radical
accountability.
accountability. That
Yeah.
is key.
Yeah.
It's key.
Yeah.
Doors will open.
Well,
Oh,
when you're not being radically accountable, you are
yeah,
giving away your power.
that's right.
You are literally giving it away to whatever you are pointing the finger at.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
Man, this has been insight after insight. Okay. I know we're running long, but I've got 2 questions for you.
okay.
Okay. If you had to sum up your entrepreneurial journey in just one word, what would that word be and why? I already kind of know the answer. But will it, maybe
Yeah.
not. Maybe surprise
Yes.
me. What is it?
Drum roll, please. It's bold.
Oh,
Act bold. Yes. Yeah. I think the best things in life come from when we've stepped outside of our comfort zone. That goes for all of
yes.
us.
All
Right?
of us. We
Yeah.
always say get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Me too. One of
You
my
will.
favorite things to say.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always say, and learn, unlearn, relearn.
Yeah.
But to do that, you've got to have like curiosity is such a gift, but you have to be bold to act on that.
Yeah.
You're right. It's
And bold doesn't mean that you have to like jump out of your comfort zone
right.
in leaps and bounds. You can take baby steps. That's
That's
okay.
right.
But just take consistent baby steps.
Mm,
And before you know it, that comfort zone's going to be far behind you. You're going to
that's
have a
right.
new one
That's
because
right.
you do get comfortable with the new
With the new.
realities.
That's right.
But you're going to have to stretch that one too. So you just have to keep taking bold action. And I think if you reframe how you think about fear,
Yeah.
then it makes taking those bold actions a little bit easier. So if you think of fear as all it is it's telling you that you are on the verge of growth. And
Yeah.
growth is scary. So
That's
you're
right.
about to step into something that is a little bit unknown and
Yep.
where you're going to be stretched and you're going to
Right.
be, where you're going to grow.
Right.
And that is a little bit uncomfortable, but that's
Right.
okay.
But it
Because
should
you're
be
going to,
welcomed. Yeah.
it should be welcomed. Absolutely. Yeah. So
Yeah.
bold.
Bold. Okay. So
Bold.
next chapter, the next chapter in your story. What is the word that describes that chapter?
Yeah, that's so interesting because that's something I've been kind of, I would say purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living into your purpose?
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I'm not even 100% sure what it is yet. Like I always thought it was to be an actor, and the
Yeah.
more I'm like leaning into coaching and entrepreneurialism, the more I'm finding that has a more direct impact on people.
Yeah.
Like when I act in something, I hope I've impacted someone, but I
Yeah.
never really know unless they come up to me and tell me
Right.
or write to me. But with entrepreneurialism, you literally you can see the results, you can
Yeah.
see the direct impact.
You
And
can see the transformation in people.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it may be sort of a figure eight thing. I mean, it may be when I get to that point where I'm only working 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right.
We all want
Right.
that.
Right. Then I'll go back to, like investing all of my time and energy back into my acting career.
Yeah.
And, writing. I always loved, I'm a screenwriter as well.
Okay.
So there you go.
There
So
you
who
go.
knows? I don't know. I'm seeing
Purpose.
where this
Yeah.
road takes me.
The
Yeah.
journey's continuing
The
for
journey
you.
continues.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, before we go, how do you want people to connect with you, find out more about Act Bold? What say you?
I say Linktree is probably the easiest. It has all
Okay.
of my links. Linktree at act_bold. But my name is Anne Alexander-Sieder. It's right there. I am very findable on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all
You're
the
everywhere.
places.
All the
Yeah.
places.
IMDb, wherever you happen to be. And you could just reach out to me because that's me responding. It's not my VA or my assistant. It's me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I've loved this conversation. This was
Me too,
fantastic.
JJ.
I was like, I have some nuggets, lots of little nuggets. I hope everybody, founders and business owners, there were some key nuggets in here, operations wise, some creativity wise, how to find your own brand, like go through those exercises.
We have to
So,
refine that a little bit, but
yeah, we'll
it's
work
on the
on that.
road. We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But great advice. And so thank you. I appreciate you coming on. And for everybody watching or joining us today, thank you for watching and listening. This podcast is available on all podcast platforms. So subscribe to Hello Chaos. Give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple. We love those too. And share this great content and help us build a more connected entrepreneurial community. Hello Chaos is one of the many resources brought to you by Orange Whip. That is Orange Whip, WIP for work in progress, because that's what we all are. I am an example of work in progress. We're all a work in progress.
That's right.
Orange Whip is a multimedia company dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities. We are in 3 cities today in South Carolina, looking to coming to a city near you, because every city needs an Orange Whip. We are the connective tissue between founders and the local entrepreneurial ecosystem. We do curated local calendars. So founders only have to go to one place to find the networking events, the grant applications, the local incubators and accelerators in their market. We curate it all one place. We also do dynamic roadmaps that are filterable of the resources that are in that market. So you just filter through of what stage are you in, what are your needs, and we pop out the resources that are available to you, which are mostly free in the market today. So again, every city needs an orange whip. We are that connective tissue. We've done all that hard work. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast or support us, send us an email at hello@orangewhip.com. Thank you for tuning in to Hello Chaos. It is where aha meets oh shit, and we will see you again next week.